The final battles of the Shattering blighted Caelid with rot, scattering remnants of the war to wander its wilds. For us, this means that some of the best weapons in the lands between are scoured throughout these desecrated swamps, just waiting to be earned. Hello again, fellow Tarnished. I'm StoneBear13. I know this one's going to be divisive, and I'm looking forward to reading your comments below, but it's time to trudge through the rot and find the top 5 weapons within Caelid. Kicking things off at number 5 is actually a weapon you'll often see me use in my videos, the Staff of Loss. Requiring 12 dexterity and 14 intelligence, this glintstone staff falls around the middle of the pack for sorcery scaling. The real strength of the staff is that it gives invisibility sorceries Night Shard, and more importantly Night Comet, each a 30% damage boost. As invisibility sorceries, enemies won't innately dodge them when cast, giving them amazing utility. Night Shard can be purchased from Gowry after progressing his questline a few steps, and you can get the stronger version Night Comet by breaking a seal within Celia, Town of Sorcery, which is where we'll also find our staff. Starting from the southern Aeonia Swampbank site of Grace, you can find Celia by heading north up the road. Do be wary of the dog near Gowry's shack, and head into the town of Invisible Spellslingers. Go to the northern end of town, and to the top of the stairs where the golden tree is. From here, we'll jump off the balcony to the southwest to land on a route, which you can follow to the nearby tower. Carefully traversing the route, jump to the nearby rooftop, then just hop down and grab the staff from the corpse hanging over the ledge. Now I'm sure many of you are still wondering why this offhand staff has even made the list. Its boost to the 2 whole spells it affects is nice, but it does fall in the middle of the pack for scaling, so it's not the best choice for casting. Well, it turns out that using a fully upgraded Staff of Loss to cast Night Comet with a second Staff of Loss in your offhand results in a stronger spell than any other staff is capable of, granting a 69% buff to Night Comet. This can further be boosted with any other magic damage buffs, and since enemies won't dodge invisibility sorceries, it almost feels unfair. I will have a small video on Celia and the secret of its braziers as well as all of its hidden loot coming very soon, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. For number 4, we'll once again rest at the southern Aeonia Swampbank site of Grace. Pass time until nightfall. Leaving the safety of the Grace, head southeast to find a Deathrite bird. This bird is no joke, and he has surprising range and damage to his attacks. But once felled, he'll reward you with Death's Poker. This Greatsword will require 15 strength, 17 dexterity, and 11 intelligence to wield. Falling within the medium reach for its weapon class, this comes with a respectable 65 frostbite buildup per hit, as well as a unique moveset shared only with the Sword of Milos. Heavy attacks are an upward slash, with the fully charged variation dragging the blade as you take a few steps before slashing upward. This frosty greatsword also comes with a fantastic weapon skill, Ghost Flame Ignition. Costing 15 FP upon use, this creates a ball of Ghost Flame that deals pure magic damage, and is boosted by the Spellblade set. Following up with a light attack will push the flame forward across the ground, creating a damaging path that also causes significant frostbite buildup for a few seconds. Using a heavy attack, you'll explode the Ghost Flame, dealing damage and frostbite buildup to enemies within a decent radius, and knocking most small enemies back. This skill scales very well with intelligence, up to around 50, but the weapon itself scales better with dexterity, especially when fully upgraded. And since the weapon skill scales separately, it allows multiple types of builds to use this weapon, each in their own way. And of course, since it's chilly, there's always the option to run fire in your offhand to reset frostbite. Making it into the top 3, we have the Cross-naginata. Requiring 16 strength and 20 dexterity, this is one unique spear. This comes with a moveset that has both slash and pierce damage readily available, as well as an innate bleed buildup of 50 per strike. This is one of the strongest spears in the game, with its base physical damage ranking second by a very minute margin. Usage of this may feel weak initially, but its damage and scaling greatly improves as it gets upgraded. It can be infused with Ashes of War, and as a spear, this gives it so many options to choose from. Of course, this also means that its scaling can be altered by affinities, allowing you to turn this already high dexterity scaling Pokestick into your own personalized tool of destruction. And while one of these is nice, power stancing them results in some very fast blood loss buildup and a very satisfying staggered moveset that has a respectable reach. To get the Cross-naginata for yourself, you'll have to head to the Gale Tunnel, to the very west of the zone. If you haven't found the entrance yet, you can start from the Rot View balcony site of Grace and go southwest up the rocks. At the graveyard, turn southeast and head downhill. Before you reach the roots or the rot, turn right and head west along the cliffside you just descended. Guarded by the Redmane Knights, you'll find the entrance to the tunnel. Once inside the first room, head northeast after you take out the few enemies blocking your path. This will lead you to a room filled with some small land octopi and one big angry mama due south. Once you've cleared the room, head to the left of the thin waterfall to the south to find the Cross-naginata resting on a corpse. The runner-up for Caelid is another weapon with an insanely strong skill attached to it, the Commander's Standard. This massive halberd will require 24 strength and 14 dexterity to wield. The Standard is not only the longest reaching halberd, but also has the second highest base physical damage of any halberd, and comes with excellent strength scaling. This weapon contains a rather pierce-based moveset with a lot of thrusts. The exception is made for its heavy attack, which if fully charged becomes a double slash that deals excellent stance damage. The true strength of this halberd actually doesn't reside in its damage output at all. The Commander's Standard comes with the weapon skill Rallying Standard. You unfurl the standard and emit a rallying cry that grants you and your allies one of the strongest buffs in the game. The aura buff you receive will last 30 seconds, granting a flat 20% increase to damage output, as well as a 20% reduction to all damage taken. Once the buff is applied, you can freely swap weapons and retain it. Since this cannot stack with Golden Vow or Shared Order, it's a fantastic aura buff option for anyone who doesn't want to spec into Faith. Requiring a minimum strength investment of 16 if two-handed, this weapon skill alone is definitely worth putting in the couple levels. And with Rallying Standard granting the highest increase of any aura buff with the exception of the Spirit Ash summoned Stormhawk Dean, it earns its number 2 spot without question. To find this weapon for yourself, you'll have to head into the center of the Aeonia Swamp, where you'll find Commander O'Neill. This boss means business, summoning multiple adds as well as inflicting rot buildup. But if you can avoid his sweeping attacks and relieve him of his duties, you'll be rewarded with the strongest aura buff weapon in the game. Now before I give my number 1 pick, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. First up, every Spellblade's favorite katana, Moonveil, which can be found at the very end of Gale Tunnel after defeating the Magma Worm. Requiring 12 strength, 18 dexterity, and 23 intelligence to wield, this has the standard katana moveset and bleed buildup. Its weapon skill, Transient Moonlight, works very similar to Unsheath. After activation, following with either a light or heavy attack input will result in a horizontal or vertical slash, with this magical blade also emitting a wave of pure magic damage that can hit in tandem with the sword strike, resulting in massive stance damage. Unfortunately, this weapon's potential requires too heavy of an investment in both intelligence and dexterity to make the list, but regardless, it's still a great weapon to have in your arsenal. And my second honorable mention goes to the Gargoyle's Blackblade, which is dropped alongside the Gargoyle's Black Halberd when defeating the Blackblade Kindred guarding the Bestial Sanctum. This greatsword requires 18 strength, 10 dexterity, and 22 faith to wield, dealing mostly holy damage. It has the default greatsword moveset and the unique weapon skill Corpse Wax Cutter. This ability deals pure holy damage, creating a wave of energy that travels towards your target, burning them for a short time after contact. The only thing holding this weapon back from making the top 5 is that it's basically the weaker version of the Blasphemous Blade obtained from the Remembrance of the Blasphemous after defeating Rykard in Volcano Manor. Aside from the moveset being the same, the Blasphemous Blade heals on enemy death as well as on hit with its weapon skill, which is eerily similar. Unfortunately, finding itself in a greater weapon shadow, the Gargoyle's Blackblade falls just shy of Caelid's top 5. This zone has so many amazing weapons, and it was definitely the most challenging to sort through, but there has to be a winner. My top weapon to grab in Caelid is the legendary armament, the Ruin's Greatsword. This colossal sword will require a whopping 50 strength and 16 intelligence to wield. Although it shares the generic moveset, and is the second shortest colossal sword, it has S tier strength scaling when fully upgraded, and an innate ability to deal bonus gravity magic damage. A fully charged heavy attack will deal a subsequent burst of gravity magic after impact, causing extra damage as well as also having a very high stance break potential. The Ruin's Greatsword also comes with the unique weapon skill Wave of Destruction. Raising the sword into the air, you slam it down, creating a ripple of gravity magic spikes that travel a considerable distance and deal solid damage. This skill will benefit most from weapon upgrades, finding minor increases from strength boosts. This weapon is a blast to use, with each lumbering hit feeling like a massive impact. And landing the fully charged heavy attack is oh so satisfying, often stance breaking foes or just outright ending them. To find this legendary armament for yourself, you'll need to head into Redmane Castle whenever the Radahn Festival is not active. If it's your first time there, you'll most likely be starting from the impassable Great Bridge site of Grace. Make it safely across this bridge, pick one edge to run along, and alternate sides as you see the fireballs launched in the distance. Once across the bridge, hang left and cross through the spike barricades. Jump up the wall to avoid the ballista, and hop over the barricade. Push up towards the gate and button hook to your right, following the rocks south to a jump into an archer's tower. Exit the tower, continuing south to the cliffs, and climb past the bats, mining the gap as you round the castle. Head up the ladder near the graveyard, and run across the wall past the enemy with the torch pole. At the knight to the east, near the small brazier, jump off the northern wall to the courtyard below. Run north past the barricaded enemies manning the flame turrets, and grab the chamber outside the plaza site of Grace. From here, you will have a challenging boss fight with not one, but two strong foes. First, you'll face a misbegotten warrior, and once he's taken enough damage, a Crucible Knight will join the fight. Once you've defeated both foes, you'll be rewarded with the Ruin's Greatsword. And with that, we've completed my top 5 weapons in Caelid, with 2 honorable mentions to boot. What do you guys think of my picks? Would you have chosen any different weapons? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this, let me know with a like. As always, if you'd like to see more of my Elden Ring content, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified. Once again, I'm StoneBear13, and thanks for watching.